Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's QB Talks App Neighborhood Watch with Murph and Kelly G and guests from Canon and ReceiptBank. Insightful Accountant is an online news and information source written for small business advisors interested in the latest news and offerings in accounting technology. My name is Emily Hedrick, and I'll be your webinar host. If you have any questions during the session, please enter them in the Q&A box, and we'll try to address them. Everyone will receive a follow-up email later today with the recording and presentation. I will go ahead and pass it over to Murph to get us started.
Well, thanks, Emily. And if my voice sounds a little fuzzy, it's because my vocal cords and brain have been frozen for the last, I think, 10 days or so. And I'm not used to living in this kind of cold weather. We've had the Arctic plunge and hardly been out of sub-freezing weather and even sub-zero weather for days. Even got 10 inches of snow just last night. And that's very unusual for Oklahoma to have that much snow. But this isn't about me, and it isn't about my weather. Rather, it's about apps. And of course, Kelly is really the real host of this show. And she has more accolades than anybody that her age should have. But really, she has earned every one of them. Now, she's the founder and chief visionary of Totally Booked, based in New York, not New York City. I've got to change that slide. She is an advanced certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. She was our 2019 up and comer Pro advisor, and she's been a member of the top 100 Pro advisors ever since. She's also a member of Intuit's prestigious Trainer Writer Network, and she also has been HubDoc's top 50 cloud accountant in US and Canada. And so I'm going to turn the program over to Kelly G, and she is going to take you through these apps and also introduce our guests today. And I'm going to shut up.
Thank you for that introduction. As an update, I am actually back in New York City. So I'm based in Queens, New York, which is considered one of the 5 boroughs, so NYC. But yes, I am a top 100 Pro advisor. I'm very excited that we have 2 of the sponsors for the top 100 Pro advisor awards with us on this webinar today. That is Canon. Will be showing us some new updates to their existing app, as well as ReceiptBank, who will also be showing us some new updates to their existing app. Although I feel like we skipped over Murph a little bit. I think everyone here knows who Murph is, mainly being the senior editor at Insightful Accountant. So if you're on this webinar, you're probably on the mailing list that goes out daily. And Murph has probably written more content than anybody I've ever met. It's an extreme talent of his. And yeah, he's been around for a long time. He's obviously super smart. And at the moment, he's trying his best to keep warm while Oklahoma is seeing some insane weather, which will apparently be heading my way tomorrow. We're due for 8 inches of snow. So I hope wherever you are safe and warm. So without further ado, let's jump into the apps that we will be taking a look at today. First up will be Canon, and like I said, they're going to be showing us an update to their existing app for QBO. ReceiptBank, the same, will be showing us an update to their existing app because obviously we've probably all at least heard of these guys if we're not already using them. We have a new app that we're going to be looking at, which is Capsule. They are a CRM, which is a client relationship manager. Liscio is, again, an existing app, but they were kind enough to send us a video showing the update that they've recently done for their app. So we'll be sharing that with you. And Katana is a MRP. So they're a manufacturing tracking app, and then also an inventory app that we'll dive into later on. And with that, I am going to introduce you to Keith Ostrander of Canon. Keith, if you'd like to share your screen, I can pass that over to you. Would that work for you?
Yep, works for me. Hold on a second here. Oh, way to go. Okay. Share. All right. Can you see everything? Let's get some emails down.
Yep.
All right. I'll bring this up so it looks a little bit more familiar to you. But good afternoon, everybody. I'm Keith Ostrander from Canon USA. I probably have met a bunch of you guys since I know some of these pro advisors and people out there have been to numerous shows. So I've been with Canon for about 13 years now and been to many of them. So I probably met you at the booth or at the party afterwards or somewhere along those lines throughout these years. And hope to get back to maybe doing some of that soon. At any rate, I work out of the headquarters in Melville, New York, so not too far from you, Kelly, down the road. And yeah, some more snow coming to us tomorrow, just where we had a little break in the day. But yeah, I was just here to keep it short and sweet. Of course, show you just two apps that we have. Actually, one of them is an app that we already had out there once before. It's called Scan to QuickBooks Online. So from within there, it's just a free app. So if you've never heard of it before, you haven't even want to find it, it's pretty easy to find. If you just type in Canon, comes up in the App Store. So that's pretty simple to use right there. It's going to come up, Scan to QuickBooks Online. I already have it in my apps over here. So I'm just going to launch it just to show you what it looks like as regards to an interface. And it basically just pulls up a preview screen. There's not that many settings you can dive into, so it kind of keeps it very simple. Only a few settings you can change: color, grayscale, a bunch of different DPIs, and a few different choices in regards to simplex, duplex, or you could leave it on skip blank page, which would automatically eliminate the blank pages, and automatically rotate, which was added to this part of the app too. So you save that. Very simple again, just hit the scan button. And I have a TRC225 connected right now. I'll talk a little bit about that, more about that in a minute. But what's the benefit of this app, again, is this basically works from within QBO. So you don't need to install any software or anything like that from the Canon perspective or anything else. So you just need to load our driver on the laptop or PC, whatever you're using. And our web scan SDK is the technology behind this, but it basically just talks to our driver and you can scan from directly within QBO. So you don't even have to load any kind of software, not our Canon software, not anybody else's. So you just basically do a couple quick of these indexes, type in whatever we want, and submit it basically. And then it'll just go into expenses. It's pretty straightforward in regards to that. Let me just go ahead and have another little bit of a sneak preview for you guys here today. If I can get rid of this, can I even reach this guy? It's kind of hidden behind my toolbar. But at any rate, I don't think it's even necessary. I could probably leave it up. Let's hope it doesn't. Let me close it out. But you can see that this is in the expenses now. This is the one I just did, 1236. I'm going to close out of this. Get out of my email, and I'm going to go into what's called our Capture on Touch software. This is something new, actually. We don't even have it. Capture on Touch is not new, but we have a new plugin, which we're about to announce within about, I guess, a little less than a month. I think March 15th is coming out. So you'll see a whole bunch of these tiles here, and this is our standard interface, and I probably got more than normal person on here because I have them on every day and testing random things. But what to point out here is a scan to QuickBooks Online, and then we have a shortcut on the right-hand side there. So this is going to be a newly available plugin. available for free once again from our Canon website. You can just download it, and it just installs with our Capture on Touch software. So it's just another way to integrate with Scan to QBO. It's just it's actually another little step. Directly scanning to QBO is probably shorter in regards to clicks and in regards to that aspect. But I mean, if you happen to be doing different scanning or things of that nature with other apps, and you just want to use, you could use our Capture on Touch for editing, a couple of different image enhancement features. And again, you could also scan to folder, and you could scan back and forth from, scan to QBO or scan to picture folder or a documents folder. So you can kind of use our Capture on Touch for multiple reasonings, and as well as set it up for QBO. And you can also have shortcuts. So what this does, it just basically pulls it up, and you'll see the similar interface, basically the one I just showed you. So you'll have the same kind of options where you just basically have to index it and choose your memo and just basically submit the thing into expenses. This can be also set up to do a shortcut. So over here on the right-hand side, these are what's called shortcuts. So for this DRC 225, we only got one button on here, but some of our other scanners have an LED where you can set up about 9 or 10 jobs, but you can set this up for one-touch scanning as well. So I can just put the paper in, hit the button on the scanner, and have it go directly into QBO. That being said, I think that's basically it for my thing. I know ReceiptBank's coming up shortly. One thing to touch on is here was, I don't know if anyone was going to mention it, but we just recently announced also a version of our DRC 225 scanner, which is called the scanner with a small business edition, which is powered by ReceiptBank. So of course our stuff's just the little bit of a freebie app and doesn't have quite the power that ReceiptBank is probably going to show you next. But we do have a version that actually comes bundled with ReceiptBank. I don't know if they're going to mention it or not. It comes with a 1-year license, 300 invoice receipt scans monthly, 5-page bank statement extraction, things of that nature. So if you're looking to purchase a new scanner with the features of ReceiptBank as well, you could come to our website and look for that. I think that kind of about wraps it up for my demonstration purposes. So I'll push it back over.
May I relay some questions from the chat?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, so I think I know the answer to this because you did just reveal that you have a scanner that is powered by ReceiptBank. But Lori had asked if you can split expenses. So when you're scanning them in, sometimes a receipt could be for more than one item. Would you be able to split that into 2 expenses in QuickBooks?
We can't currently do that with our app. I guess it would have to be done after the fact. If that makes any sense.
So scan it in, attach it to the expense, and then split it in QuickBooks. Yeah,
that's my assumption, and don't quote me on that because I'm not exactly the QuickBooks expert here. I'm more or less the scanner, make the scanner work expert.
So, got it.
So my functionality in QuickBooks is pretty on the minimal side. So.
Yeah, so Lori, I would think that you would scan it in, find the expense in the bank feed, and then you would be able to split the expense there. That's also where you would add your tags, your projects, any customer bills, anything that you would need to do in QuickBooks. You would just be able to attach that image right here. And then another one, Keith, cannot see her name, Maria asked, where did you, so I guess she didn't see the beginning of the part where you found the document. She was asking if it was from a scanner or was it already something on your computer? But my assumption is that you had scanned it through the Canon scanner to your computer, or at least into this utility. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So there's 2 different ways. I'm not sure where she picked up on it, but the first one was I have in my apps is what's called the scan for QuickBooks Online. It's from Canon. So again, it's in the App Store. So as soon as you type in Canon, it's the only one that comes up. It's a free app. It's more or less like a plugin, and then it adds it to your QuickBooks Online. And then from within QuickBooks Online, you just launch the app, and it works with a bunch of our Canon scanners. It has to be a Canon scanner, obviously, but it just prevents you from having to load any software. So you simply just load our driver onto your laptop or PC, and it directly talks to the web interface. So you don't have to load any other software aside from our driver, and it'll just pull up this interface here. Yeah, it does come from our scanners, obviously.
Okay. So then, yes. So Kester, that answers your question that it would be a Canon scanner because this is software that works with the scanner. One other question from Catherine. She asked if it works for bills. Are you able to scan bills, or is this just receipts to attach to existing expenses?
This is just receipts
Okay.
attached to existing expenses. Yeah, it just
Got
goes
it.
directly to expenses.
Awesome. Okay. I believe that covers all of the questions, but thank you so much. That
You're
was
welcome. All right, I'll stop sharing my screen and kick it back over to you guys. How do I stop?
I think I have.
Oh. No?
Sorry. No, yeah, you would have to stop.
Oh, here we
sharing.
go. I got it. Found it.
And then actually, so next up, we actually have Kate, who's going to be presenting from ReceiptBank. So if Kate, if you'd like to share your screen, I will mute myself and then you can jump right in.
Perfect. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. My name is Kate Egan, and I manage our partner success and account management teams here at ReceiptBank for the U.S. Region. I've been with ReceiptBank for a little over 4.5 years now, so I've probably worked with some of you, seen you guys at conferences. I think I eat, breathe, sleep ReceiptBank, so any questions you guys have, please send them my way. For those of you that are not familiar with ReceiptBank, we've been around since 2010, and we work with over 50,000 accountants and bookkeepers worldwide, and in turn, over 400,000 small and medium businesses. ReceiptBank, the name is a bit deceiving in that we help automate the unnecessary aspects of bookkeeping process, right? All the cumbersome, monotonous, manual side of the bookkeeping process, so you guys can spend that time actually focusing on different activities within your practice. So on a monthly basis, we process over 10 million receipts and transactions. I think receipts is a little bit misleading again, because we actually are the primary transaction that we process are actually invoices. And through that data extraction and automation tools, which we'll talk about, we save our partners and their clients about 75,000 hours per week. So that's just a look back a little bit. Our core mission and our belief is that we believe that providing accountants and bookkeepers with the right tools, we can help all small businesses be better. And that's by giving you guys the power to have access to the data and insights so that you can help advise your clients to do what they need to do for their businesses. So that's really what we believe here at ReceiptBank. So let's talk a little bit about why ReceiptBank was created in the first place and kind of where it fits in to your processes. So let's think about the traditional bookkeeping process. First, you need to get the items from your clients. That could be actually getting the source documents themselves. Maybe it's getting the bank statements. It's a lot of that communication and back and forth to your clients to get the documents in the first place. Maybe that could be at the end of the month, end of the quarter. Maybe it's just at the end of the year when they decide, oh, let me just bring that shoebox, trash bag. I've heard of kitchen cabinets, empty cereal boxes. You guys probably have horror stories of getting that information to you guys. Then once you actually have all those documents, you actually have to get the data from those items. So who's the vendor? Do I know this vendor? Do I have to go Google them? What were these transactions actually for? Do I need to go talk to my client again to understand what they actually purchased from Amazon and how it should be coded? Or do I have a clear indication of what that actually is? So there's a lot of that back and forth between the client when you actually get those items, and you have to start to code it and sort it. Then you actually have to enter that data into your system, which I know you guys are all very familiar with. In old world, without maybe necessarily tools, whether it be ReceiptBank or otherwise, you're probably having to key in that information yourselves. And after the first 100 receipts, great, A+, you're doing excellent work there, but it can get fatiguing after a while, especially this time of year. So thinking about all that, entering that data and information in, there starts to be an element of potential for error and heightening that risk. But then there's also the element of, okay, I have the transactions. Do I have the bank feeds set up in QuickBooks Online? Do I have access to them to set them up in desktop? do I have those bank statements and that information to actually cross-reference and having to manually reconcile? I know of partners that came to us, and at one point they would be sitting on their living room floors, highlighting bank statements, trying to match up everything to make sure that they were reconciling that entire bank statement together, and doing that over and over again across different bank accounts, across their client accounts. So it's very time consuming. And these are activities where we need your expert eye in terms of coding and understanding how they should be processed and recognized. But there are elements of this process that we are set out to help you guys automate more. So the idea is the new frontier, more modern bookkeeping. So the first step is digitization. How do we actually get those items digitally? So the Canon scanner is one element. There's the mobile app. We also have key features like setting up invoice fetch automation and essentially just connecting all that information, email in as well. So it's all about how do we digitize, getting that information, making sure there's a digital copy, not just a paper copy that you guys can have access to at all times. And from that, then can we extract and automate that key data and information? Can we start to put rules in place? You guys are probably familiar with QuickBooks Online Rules. When you're using QuickBooks Desktop, knowing and setting up those rules as well of how do we actually code or know what these transactions are for. And then finally, being able to leverage the technology to talk to your bank feeds, the bank statements that are entered into QuickBooks Online for that matching. So you're not having to, hurt your necks or using a bunch of highlighters to do that reconciliation. Let the technology talk to each other. So you're spending your time doing expert review rather than having to do that manual matching yourselves. So that's the idea of what ReceiptBank is trying to solve for. And so if you think about the process overall, about where ReceiptBank can kind of fit in, let's take a look at this diagram of kind of the general processes within your firm, right? You've got your bills, receipts, expenses that need to come in. That could influence payroll. That could influence bill pay. I know someone was asking about invoices just a few minutes ago. Or you just need to get that information into the general ledger because they're already reconciled expenses. Once they're in the general ledger, that also then influences the reporting mechanisms that you guys have. How are your clients spending their money? Where could they be saving money? How should they maybe be paying out their employees, taxes, all that good stuff, right? That comes from the beginning of actually needing to get those expenses coded correctly in the first place. So here's a quick snapshot of some cool apps that you guys are probably familiar with that kind of fit into this app ecosystem. ReceiptBank integrates with both Gusto on the payroll side and Bill.com on the bill pay side, as well as obviously integrating directly with QuickBooks Online. I guess I'll give it a little bit of away. We are also introducing an integration with QuickBooks Desktop, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So starting to expand that out. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of where we fit into that tech stack and within your overall bookkeeping process. So again, our whole idea is to automate the unnecessary, automate expense reporting. We have client efficiency metrics to help you guys actually understand how often your clients are getting you information, where you can start to get ahead of potential bad habits in terms of submission delays, getting them to use the mobile app more frequently. And then a few features like paperwork match and request paperwork, which I can talk about in a bit more detail. One thing that I think is really awesome is our mobile app. We see about 60% of our submissions come through the mobile app on a monthly basis, so about 6 million of those transactions monthly. And that's because we can think of it as a handheld scanner. So definitely when we were in less work from home environment, and we had people out on the road traveling, maybe their jobs just required them to be going from office to office, small business to small business, you name it. You can think of the mobile app as a handheld invite. But part of that is also the ease of use for getting your clients signed up. So you can actually send them a text message invite to introduce them to ReceiptBank. It pre-populates with their login credentials. They just have to change the password and they can immediately start taking pictures. So it cuts down on that, oh, I have to have a whole meeting, a face-to-face meeting to get them set up. They can really just start snapping pictures at the drop of a hat. Within our mobile app, we have a couple of different modes that your clients can utilize. So the single item mode, they can just snap a picture of that one receipt, invoice, you name it. Write notes. They can even do a little bit of coding from the app if you want them to have that access. We also have our suggested categories, which will start to say, hey, you know what, we've actually seen this transaction before, or this supplier before. We recommend coding it this way since that's what you've done. So starting to take advantage of some of that machine learning. But maybe you've got some transactions that are 2 pages long, maybe a 2-page, 3-page invoice, maybe it's double-sided, maybe it's one of those really long CVS receipts and you want to take advantage of capturing those coupons for whatever reason. That's where you can use combine mode to stitch those images together. So between the mobile app and our other submission methods, ReceiptBank really kind of doesn't give your clients an excuse to not get you the information, because we've got so many different ways that we can capture that. So some more features to touch on. Accurate extraction, that's kind of the pillar, right? That's what our bread and butter, and how ReceiptBank really started was really focused on that data extraction, and making sure that it was as accurate as possible. You can then sort your inbox by all that information, whether it be vendor, total amount, payment method, who the user was that submitted it. So it allows you to start to get more thoughtful and automate your review process. We also have supplier rules. So you can start to set rules in place, maybe by coding, maybe by class and location, maybe by payment method. That way you're reducing the amount of clicks in review. We also have the ability for you guys to connect bank feeds in ReceiptBank. So this is separate from QuickBooks Online, where you can actually set up your own bank feeds in ReceiptBank, which allows us to take advantage of some really cool features like our bank match functionality and our request paperwork functionality. So what Bank Match does is it actually looks at your bank feed and then matches it to the transactions that have come into the inbox to say, hey, we actually see that this came in. This is how you should, or the bank account that you should be pushing this over to. That way, you know exactly what's going to be coming in on the QBO side and giving you that confidence. The other feature that we have is called request paperwork. And I love this feature because essentially it allows you to connect to the bank feed and we'll see all the transactions that still don't have matches in ReceiptBank that are either in the inbox or have already been published. You can then actually send a report to your clients at month end to say, hey, this is all the information I'm still missing. Can you get this to me as soon as possible? That way you guys all have documents associated and can get to that granular coding and reporting that you need to. I think I mentioned invoice fetch. So you can actually connect to over 1,400 suppliers, meaning that you can log in to their accounts. Let's say it's Verizon or Comcast, for example, and we can automatically pull in those invoices, invoice fetch. So you don't have to chase your clients or remind them. You don't have to log into those accounts consistently to pull that. We'll do that for you. We're adding new suppliers every single week. So if you don't see one on there, you can always request it. But it's a great feature to help cut down on that back and forth. And then finally, we also have Smart Split. So we've introduced automatic line item extraction. So for those invoices that have tons and tons of line items, I always think of like Cisco, or for restaurant clients that have vendors that they purchase a lot from, splitting those out manually can be time consuming. So instead we can actually do the automatic extraction for you. So those are some of the key features. I also alluded to this, that we are now introducing our ReceiptBank Connect app, which is allowing us to integrate with desktop functionality. So the first integration that we're going to be working on is integrating with QuickBooks Desktop. So we have an integration right now via Right Networks as a hosted environment with QuickBooks Desktop. We're now introducing the ability to connect not through a non-hosted environment. So it allows you to sync over the chart of accounts, just like you would with QuickBooks Online. You can integrate multiple clients. You can publish those items over as expenses, as bills, and essentially just treat it like you would almost like an online integration. So that way you can have more of your client base utilizing this tool, helping you scale as a business, and also helping your desktop clients take advantage of more of this app ecosystem. So we're really, really excited about this. Essentially, we know that a lot of you guys still work with desktop clients, right? QBO, as much as we love it, isn't always, the right fit for a client. So let's make sure that ReceiptBank can also be a good fit for those clients that are not online. Getting started is pretty easy. I recommend going to receiptbank.com and taking out a trial. And that way you can use it for, I think it's a 14-day free trial. So it gives you guys, it might actually be a 30-day free trial. It gives you guys full access to integrating your accounts, setting up clients, utilizing our bank statement extraction functionality as well. So it really gives you a good picture of how to use ReceiptBank and incorporate that into your workflows. And then you can speak with one of our new partner consultants to walk you through how this could fit into your process, both now, but then also where you're looking to go. And then my team, once you guys do sign up to the partner program, we have partner success consultants that are there to help you with onboarding and implementation, both at the beginning of your ReceiptBank journey, but also throughout. So as you guys are growing and understanding the, how you want technology and apps to fit into your processes, we'll help you guys either get your clients up and running, help your team members get up and running, or help you kind of process map that out for you. And then last part on this slide is on February 23rd, we have a really big announcement, and we're going to be hosting what's called the Next Generation event, where we're going to be talking about big changes coming to ReceiptBank and Xavier. If you're not familiar, Xavier is a company that we acquired, I think summer of last year, which is really, really cool. It really helps with data hygiene when it comes to your customers. We're gonna have special guests. So Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who's kind of the founder of the World Wide Web, he'll be hosting. We'll have Ron Baker speaking, Hannah Dawson, and many more folks as well. So I'll put the registration link in the chat box there for you guys. But we're really, really excited about this event, and it's something you're not going to want to miss. We're going to be talking about kind of the next 10 years at ReceiptBank and what's on the roadmap, and sharing a little bit more. So those are our updates. So I don't know if there was any questions that came in, but that's it from me.
Thank you so much. Thinking about the next 10 years is crazy, but it's amazing that you guys are doing so well and you're growing and adding new features. I know that a lot of our followers on this webinar are interested in the desktop features, so that's very exciting news. One question, and it was kind of one and the same, but so two people are asking about the cost. So they want to know if there's any deals for pro advisors, or how can they find out pricing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I recommend taking out the trial, then you'll speak with a ReceiptBank consultant. The way that our pricing works is that we're on bundle packages. So you would buy licenses of like 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 clients, and to take advantage of those. And so I would say reach out to us. You can go to support@receiptbank.com or take out a trial. We've got annual paid monthly options or monthly paid monthly options. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for, but it's an annual paid monthly bundle of 10 for Streamline would start you at $180.
Awesome. Okay. So we mark those as answered. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to. Alrighty. Can everybody see my screen now? Anyone?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Can anyone? Okay. So Kate, you're going to throw the link for registering for the event in the chat, correct?
Yes, I will put in the chat now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. That was timed well. Okay, so next up, we have an update from an already quote unquote existing app. So Liscio is a communication tool used by accountants, bookkeepers, etc., with their clients. So it allows for chatting back and forth. It allows you to send your clients a text message or an email directly from their app. And in doing so, it goes either to the app that they've already downloaded or however it is that they want you to communicate with them. So if the client is more comfortable with text, it'll allow them to receive a text message, however you set up their preferences. Another thing that it offers is file exchange. So a big deal for Liscio is that I guess it's an easier way to get your documents. So especially during tax season, during busy season, one of our biggest holdups as accountants is getting documents from clients. Where are the documents that we need so that we can finish either filing your taxes, finish your year end, get your receipts, whatever it might be. What's nice about Liscio is that it is system agnostic, right? So it's going to help you either work, with something like a Canon scanner where you can upload documents. It's going to help you with something like, ironically, my computer just asked me if I wanted to update my scanner. It's going to help you with getting those documents, let's say from ReceiptBank, if you're asking them to upload something, sending them the invite, making sure that it's all working together. It provides kind of like that go-to destination for your clients. One thing that they do say on their website is that only 25% of emails are opened. And that does not surprise me. I know that during busy season, it's hard for me to get to every email. So I can only imagine with our clients going year round sometimes, how difficult it is for them to get to things. So I already explained this part, but they did send us a nice video. So I'm going to play the video so that you can kind of see what their new feature is.
How do you get reports to clients now? Chances are you download to your computer, upload to a portal, or once an email with a link in it, and send it to your client. You upload your email, click on the link, log into the portal, and actually download it. This is a lot of steps on 12 minutes.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
We're not hearing the volume very well.
Oh no, I don't know how to make it louder.
I don't know. I
Oh,
was
wait,
going to say, I don't know if you can turn it up a little bit. That might help. Thank you.
Is that any better?
How do you get reports to clients now? Chances are
It's still pretty quiet.
upload to a portal, once an email with a link in it, and send it to your client. You upload your email, click on the link, log into the portal, and actually download it. This is a lot of steps on both ends, and you often have to help the client log in to boot. What if there was a better way? Liscio Dispatch was designed to bridge the gap between the systems you use to serve your clients and the mobile world they live in. Here's how it works. We'll use QBO as our example, but this works with anything your firm uses that has a print to PDF function. I create a P&L detail report in QuickBooks, and then to send to my client, all I do is hit print and tag my client using Liscio Dispatch and hit upload. They get a push notification that a report is ready for their review, along with my notes, and they can securely review it on their mobile device. The great news is that you can use what you want to and send it through Liscio Dispatch securely to your client with just a couple of clicks. Now, what about clients sending documents to you? Probably you're asking them to use a portal. And some do, but if you're like most firms, clients send you photos of documents by text, they reach out on social media, or they email documents directly. And this is because portals are difficult to use, and clients don't always have access to a scanner. But what if you could give them a scanner in their pocket? Introducing Liscio's mobile scanner. Liscio enables clients to respond quickly right from their smartphone. They can scan and send documents on the go, and you get them as a high-quality PDF. No more portals, no more emails, and no more chasing. Liscio is the easiest, most affordable productivity tool you can add to your firm because you don't have to change any of your back office processes or software. To get more done this season, contact us here.
Awesome. Okay, I think I fixed the issue with the sound when I started sharing my sound. So hopefully you guys got to hear all the new cool features. So again, it can be used with a bunch of different tools that you're already using. The idea though is to streamline that communication with the client and get the documents that you need, and then also have them be able to send them documents. They can do e-signature right from within Liscio and kind of keep your process moving. One pretty big deal is that you can upload files up to 5 gigabytes, which is really large. which means that you can now exchange QB desktop files. So if you have clients that have a desktop file and you're sending it back and forth through something like Dropbox, this provides then a secure way to exchange those files. The price is per user within your firm. So you can check out their website and that has all of the updated pricing. I don't see, oh, there's a question. What level of security does Lisio have? Does it have bank level security for 1099s and W-2s? It does. So you are able to send, securely send documents back and forth. So it's going to be above, email for sure, definitely text message. And that's all while you're using their app, either their mobile app or online. So it would be equivalent to QBO security, bank security, so on. Okay. And next up, so these are our actual 2 new apps that have hit apps.com lately. So the first one up is a CRM, so a client and relationship manager. I personally just started using a CRM and it has made a world of difference for being able to keep track of, any email leads that come in, any referrals that I've gotten. It makes it easier to keep track of who referred them to me. So maybe I can send a thank you, where we are in the process. So one thing that's really nice about a CRM is that you can kind of, well, not all CRMs, the Capsule does allow you to customize the process that you take. So if it starts with the lead from an email, you can then notate, how you receive that lead and moving through the stages of that sale. So it might be first up that you have a call with them to understand what they need. And then maybe you're waiting on access for something so you can either inspect their QuickBooks file or whatever it might be. So you can move through the different stages and kind of have a nice picture of where you're at. So this is a great example. There's no sound or anything on here, but you can see that when you start with qualified, right? So let's say that's somebody that comes in through email and now you've had the meeting. Once you send the proposal, maybe go back and forth on pricing, whatever it might be, you have the option to then move them through the different stages. One thing about a CRM that I would say has made a big difference for me is also being able to track my close rate. So knowing how many leads are coming in, how well I'm doing on speaking to people and selling them on my, my services. And then also having a visual picture of where we're at. So goal setting is also another big deal. So if you have goals that you've set up for, let's say, the year, for the quarter, and you want to be able to keep track of all of the different, leads that are coming in. And sometimes they're not going to be qualified leads. Sometimes they're not going to be a good fit for you, but being able to analyze them, take notes on them, keep track of why they didn't fit, whatever the case might be, being able to reach out to them later. Maybe you're building an email list and you want to be able to keep track of everyone's information. Capsule would be a place that you could do something like that. They do have integrations with Gmail for sure. So you can actually set it up that from within Gmail when you receive that email. So let's say it's, from Find a Pro Advisor and you want to reach back out to them, you can use that email to set them up in Capsule and then follow the process as you go through it. So you can create tasks for making sure that you reach out to them. You can keep track of all of their information. Again, you can use this to set up a marketing list, whatever it might be that you wanted to do with that information. And they do integrate with QuickBooks. So their QuickBooks integration lets you set up an invoice or an estimate, and it'll automatically populate all of your existing clients from QuickBooks into Capsule. So you'll have a list of existing clients, possibly past clients, maybe that you want to start reaching out to again, or maybe one-time clients. So if you had a project that you created that you had done for them, and now you want to go back and see about routine service, this will allow you to reach out to them. You can see your open and outstanding invoices, and then also a history of invoices. So if you're looking to see, has this client paid me? Do they pay on time? Whatever it might be that you need to know about them, you're going to be able to look at that right in Capsule without having to go into QuickBooks. The flip side of that is that if you have a salesperson on staff, you can set them up for something like this without having to worry about them seeing all of your financial information, right? So if you don't want to give your sales team access to your QuickBooks, or if your client doesn't want to give their sales team access to QuickBooks, this would be a way of being, allowing them to see what they need and not having to see any of the other, business information that they shouldn't be privy to. And then you can see you can view total amount of paid invoices, detailed summary of past invoices, and estimates. So again, if you've sent them an estimate and let's say they didn't go for it, whatever it might be, you'll be able to see all of that in there, so you can make an informed, decision on reaching out to them and, reaching out and giving them new opportunities to work with you. So capsulecrm.com. I also did find that their YouTube channel was very helpful. They do have a video on there about how to connect to QuickBooks Online and what it can do for you. But then also as well as how to customize the setup, what the different stages are that you can put in there. If you go straight to apps.com, you can just search for Capsule. They pop up on there as well. And you get a 30-day free trial. So the pricing is per user, but you do get that 30-day free trial, so you can try them out and see if they're a good fit. And then, decide if you want to go forward. Do we have any questions about Capsule? I don't see any, so I'm going to go on to Katana. So Katana is modern manufacturing and inventory management software. So the best example of this that I can think of is if, let's say, you were building something like furniture, or your client was, and you have all of these moving parts. And so to complete this, dining room table, you're waiting on this piece to come in. You need to keep track of it, right? So Katana has set it up so that you always know where everything is, even though there's different moving pieces, right? So over here, you can see if something's in stock, when it's coming in, if you can't get it any longer, whatever it might be. So it's going to help your manufacturing clients. That's their shining star. That's their big deal. Manufacturing clients, and then in addition, inventory. So the way that it works with e-commerce platforms, and in turn with QuickBooks and Shopify and all those things, it'll also sync your sales. So you can put your sales orders to QuickBooks for invoicing, and then keep purchasing in sync with accounting. So making sure that when you're purchasing all the different moving parts, you're making sure to keep track of them in here. And then also when you're then producing that final item, making sure that you're charging enough for it. So another big deal about manufacturing that, especially newbies when they first get started, they're not always charging enough for their time. They're not always charging enough for their product. And as accountants, we're trying to explain to them sometimes, the cost of goods and how this all works. But sometimes it's easier for them to see it in a visual way. So if you have manufacturing clients where they do have a lot of moving parts, and they do have inventory, this would be a great fit for them. So the other side of it is it's just that one place go-to dashboard, right? So seeing where it's coming from the supplier, when it's coming in, sometimes it's going to be tracking information, all of that can be stored in here. You can also use it to place orders directly to the manufacturers. So sending out a purchase order, you can send that out from here. It's going to note it in QuickBooks. So when it's fulfilled, you can now have a bill to pay, for the materials that are needed. And then accurate production costs. I think this is probably the best feature that I came across on their website. So the actual manufacturing costs of what it makes to, let's say, what it takes to, let's say, build that table, right? So over here, we're seeing the wood slab, the table leg, the varnish, and then the hours of the employee that was putting it all together. So whoever cut it, glue it, assembled it, so on. You want to make sure that if your cost was this, $416 plus your actual ingredients, that you're selling it, or that your client is selling it, I should say, for the right amount. So this is helping with keeping, costs in check, and then also keeping clients profitable, which is a really big deal. This year, a lot of businesses went online. So a lot of them are struggling with how to do things like this, moving from, let's say, a warehouse to now working out of their garage, something along those lines. So giving them a tool that can help them keep track of everything, and then also get you the information that you need to close out, the year. It's a pretty big deal. So they can be found at katanamrp.com. They are priced per user with the option of having multiple warehouses. So depending on the setup of your client, they may need to keep track of more than one inventory location. If you look for them on apps.com, just search for Katana with a K. And they really do have great reviews. So I can say Katana and Capsule both had really good reviews. is one of the reasons that we chose to highlight them. And again, I was very impressed with their YouTube tutorials. So you can take a look at YouTube, and if you search for Katana manufacturing, it'll come up, but it is Katana Smart Manufacturing Software would be their channel. And just as a recap, I wanted everyone to have a place to look for the different apps that we talked about today, and any of the features that we might have had. Obviously, you can always reach out with questions, but reaching out directly to the app is probably going to get you the best answers. So going directly to their website, signing up for their free trials, to take a look. Capsule is 30 days for sure. ReceiptBank has that 14-day trial. Canon is actually at no cost. So in the App Store, you can get the app that was shown to us earlier. And so long as you have a Canon scanner, you can integrate it into QuickBooks. You'll find it on apps.com. And that is all for me. Murph, do you have anything that you want to add? And or does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
You might be out there. Okay. I was going to say, you might be out there shoveling snow again.
Are you, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say the Katana manufacturing app is on my list to do a first look review. I did quite a little analysis of it before I visited with Kelly about it. And I was very, very impressed for an app of this nature and what it costs. We've seen software like this in the past that was very, very expensive that did the same kind of stuff. And so it's a very sophisticated piece of software. And so just be on the lookout, because we'll be writing about it and giving you a lot more content in the future. And other than that, next month, we have QB Talks on March 17th, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll just have to join us.
Okay, mysterious.
On St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day. So obviously, as usual, you can always find the archives of our episodes, our webinars on Insightful Accountant. And Emily, I believe you do also push out the email that shows where to find the recordings as well. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'll send out a follow-up with this presentation as a PDF and the recording to everybody here a little bit later today.
Awesome.
All right. I don't see any other questions. So other than that, we hope to see you all next month at QB Talks on March 17th. Everyone have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.